sorry where all you want to go. When you brought this table up, he said, that's going to be big enough. And I said, I could fill this whole building up about 10 times. I'm a big historian, also with the auctioneer. And so, we just will have an auction right off there, 25, 30, 30, 35, 40, 40, 45, 55 here now, 60, 60, 65, 70, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 85 here now, 90, 90, 90, 85 now, 90, sold at $85 to the nice, pretty lady in the front row. She's $10.
What was that bid?
Get your checkbook. I'll give you a little bit of history first. Actually, maybe I should do the other. The history goes way back. Nobody really knows when auctions really started. You know, you can find all kinds of stuff online. They probably did them, throw back to Christ, probably. Nobody knows. They come up, there was a lot of bad publicity about it because you get up in the 1600s, 1700s, they sold ladies. That was a big thing. And then in later years, then they sold the slaves when they come into the country. I do have some sale bills of slaves that were sold. I don't bring them out. I keep them give away. It's kind of a bad time in life. And but the reason for the colonel, they call him the colonel now, is the Civil War come along. And after the Civil War, we had two countries with a whole bunch of stuff. And so they commissioned the colonels to do away with the extra stuff from the South and the colonel just stuck to them. And so that's why I'm Colonel Higgins. A little bit more newer. This is a sale bill from Rippy. I don't know if anybody remembers this or not. I remember going to that when I was a little kid. And that was quite a big place between Rippy and Boston.
What year was that?
This one here is 30, well, no, it's been in since 39, 15 years. Yeah. I'm not with you. If you want to look at some of these things I brought up, this is some things in my collection. This is a paper from 1885 here in Grand Junction. And if anybody knows me, they know I got zillions of this stuff. These are calendars from Jefferson, the old Curtis grocery store, the John Deere, and this is from T.O. Watts in Grand Junction. And we'll start in on this thing here, and then I'm going to tell you a few about my auctions and the different changes. This is a sale bill from 1916 that I acquired. Has connection to the town of Grand Junction and Parkers. This actually was done in Minnesota, and I acquired it, and then I had it laminated. But you can tell how, 1916, you can tell how tough times were. Because they wrote on the back of the sale bill and sent it to the family. It talks about the Indians up there also. So that's quite interesting if you want to read about that. But the interesting thing about the old history of auctions, now this one here, you had to put $10 down, which would have been quite a bit of money in 1916, and then the bank would carry the rest of it. And that's what a lot of the old auctions did, is if you put money down at the auction, the banker was right there and he would loan you the money. Another piece, I don't think it's on this one, the old sales, they would start in the mornings usually, and at noon, the sale was shut off, and everybody went in to eat. They fed everybody that come. That was just a customary thing.
So the bank would not loan the full amount, would they?
Over the $10, yes.
So if I bought a machine for $2,500, they loan me the whole thing?
And that's what I'm understanding. In all the other sale bills that I've seen, I have other sale bills with that same thing on it. The banks will always there to loan money. Because people didn't have money. And the banks wanted to keep them in the area. You know, so that's the way to do it. And they were going to get their money back because maybe the people owed money to the bank. So, you know, if they get somebody to buy it that's got some good credit, spread that out, they got their money back. Because, you know, people thinking 16 months really had money.
What was the year of that?
1916. Yeah. And that was kind of a tough time in 1916. The research before the war, before World War I. Okay. My auctions went through real estate, a lot of farm auctions, real estate auctions. I sold museums out, just a ton of different museums. Just had a call from one this morning. And through the years, when we started out, you would go out and book the auction, and then you would, you know, make the deal, you would set things out, you would sort things, kind of like we do today, but then you'd put them over to the side, and then you'd do your advertisement, and the sale day, early in the morning, you'd pull them out, put them on cables, and then you'd stay there all day, selling out the items, which has changed a lot here now. When we get to that. Through the years, you know, selling real estate, stuff like that. It's been good for me. I started doing different auctions and stuff in the 80s, along with my mechanical business that I had, and still have a good one. Yes.
What inspired you to
That was a good
this
question.
career?
Good question, because Denise asked me that same thing.
Oh, I don't hear good that.
No, she asked me that the other day. Actually, my customers, I go backwards a little bit, I started in the mechanical business doing repairs on semis and trucks and stuff like that. And some of my older customers at that time said, Dale, what are we going to do? We took care of us all of our life. What are we going to do when we have to have a sale? Why don't you become an auctioneer? Because they do like bought and sold and stuff through the years. And so my good customers inspired me to, you know, actually go to school. I did it before I went to school. And they actually inspired me to go. So I did it actually as a retirement thing. And that was, went through the 80s, repossessed. That was another sad time. And a lot of farming problems. They took their houses, took their farming equipment, you know, and we had to go out and do it. Eventually I said no more, so, because they would shoot at us and everything. Yeah, so the federal marshals would come out and they'd shoot at you. Yeah, they were bitter. It was a bad time. It was a sad time. I finally got so I wouldn't give up. If the bank wanted to repossess it, if they would bring it to my lot, I would, you know, take it, but I wouldn't go on the farm. You know, because a lot of them knew.
But the people who were shooting at you weren't really mad at you.
No. They were actually mad at the federal marshal.
The banks.
Yeah, they were really good. And we was picking up equipment with no tires, no radiators, windows all rusted out. You know, they'd actually take the tires and everything out. And then they put it on the road. When we went to places and all the equipment was out on the road with no tires, no nothing. And of course, then the local sheriff comes because what's this stuff doing in the road? You know, so, but yeah, it was a bitter time. It was a really bitter time. And they put it out on the road and said, that belongs to the bank, don't belong to me. Yeah, yeah. That one guy we went to, we repossessed his cattle. And we had the trucks all out there, picking them up, and they were all wrong. Federal marshal then took him into custody, and the judge, the judge asked him what to do with him. He said, we looked him right in the face and said, we the judge didn't know about him.
What did he say?
Yeah, that's how bitter it is. Found him in the story. Yeah, those were tough times. So then, we moved along after that, and my good customers, and I see to go into the auction business. So I pushed that a little bit more, and went to auction school, and then that was late in 93, 94, then I had a good friend in Jefferson who passed away, and that was his wishes. A good friend of mine grew up in Higgins, a friend of his, and we did our first auction. And from then on, it's just kept going. A lot of the houses that we've sold through the years, I've had three of them on here. They just come and give me their keys to their house and power of attorney to take care of it. And one said, would you load my parrot and my truck? I'm going to Wyoming, and here's your power of attorney. Sell my house and sell everything in it. So, I guess to me that means a lot to me that people trust me in the county and beyond the county. I did auctions in 12 different states. Last big one I did was in Arizona. We did 50-some tractors, 2 airplanes, and a bunch of cars and trucks. Yeah, we've done auctions for the Waterfowl USA, which is a big organization that Roy Rogers started, and he did it for his son in Indiana. And, so we've had some good deals. A couple things I'll talk about. One time I had a old BB gun, a guy brought me, and it was all in pieces. It was in a pocket, and he said, put this together sometime, and we just get rid of it. So this lady was eating my bench for probably 5 years. Finally one day I thought, I'm going to get that out and put it together. So I found some old bolts and put it together and put it on auction. About $500. And the guy went, I see the guy was in the back, and he went to his house. I said, well, what did Ruth say? She goes, did that thing sell? I said, yeah, I got 5 for it. Said, who would pay $5 for that? She said, no, I mean, and then another one in Auburn, out in the middle of nowhere, out on a farm. A guy wanted me to do his auction for his wife, and we got everything moved to Grand Junction at that one. But when we went into the driveway about a mile long, I said, the first thing we want to do is we want to get that crop out from by the road. He said, well, it's been there for 20 years. I said, well, that's like, I didn't really know how to do it, but we ended up having the auction, and his wife said his wife and him didn't want to come to the auction. It was too hard. The daughter was coming, and we sold it for $3,600.
Yeah.
The daughters come up to me afterwards and said, what did you call your dad? Yeah, what did he say? He said, nothing. I said, what do you know? He dropped the phone, he couldn't talk. So, yeah, we've sold a little bit of everything. We sold rodeo stock, mostly bulls, for a number of years in northern Iowa, and sold them for the rodeo. It was kind of unique because the guys would ride the bulls, and as soon, I was up and over them, and as soon as the guy fall off or get thrown off or whatever, we'd instantly start auctioning the bull. If he was okay. instantly just start auctioning the wool. And that was quite an experience. We had a lot of cool people in the rodeo circuit. And now I got a grandson that announces rodeos and he wants to do auctions. Kind of like that, so kind of carry on the tradition. One time we had the largest collection in the world of big little books and Doris Day collectibles. And we brought it to our shop. And it was a 2-day sale. A lot of my auctions have been 2 days. And big guys fly in from New York and California. And the one guy was a big collector. He was a professor in California. And he flew in just for the auction and stayed for the first day and part of the second day. And when he left, he said, "Here's my list, and I want it bought." And he said, "Here's $5,000. I want you to ship it." And we went. Back to California. We had a good relationship with him for years.
So Dale, how did they get a hold of you? These Doris Day?
Back in them times, yeah, that's where you kind of want to get this. Back in